Now, Earth can be described, say for example, as a planet in the solar system. That's a description of Earth. Earth can also be described in terms of its internal structure, like the Earth is a sphere which has several layers, like the crust, the mantle and the core. What kind of description is actually geography? Chronological description is in the domain of history. Historians try to describe things in a chronological order, like who ruled India before the Mauryas, after the Mauryas, what happened during the Mughal Empire. So, तो चलो अब शुरू करते हैं हम ज्योग्राफी की कहानी. So let us start with the definition of the subject and let us try to understand what does this subject actually means. So if we look at the word geography itself, we get a good idea what we are about to study in this subject. The word geography was coined by a Greek polymath, and his name was Eratosthenes. What do we mean by a polymath? Now see, in olden days there were not subject specialists, but there were more generalists. It means, like, do you remember Leonardo da Vinci, who made the famous painting Mona Lisa? He was also a singer, actor, painter, poet and whatnot. So for those people who have expertise in more than one discipline, the word polymath is used. So there was a Greek polymath, his name was Eratosthenes. He coined the word geography. इससे पहले जितने भी geographer होते थे, although they were describing the earth or they were highlighting special geographic features on the surface of the earth, they did not use the term geography ever, or they did not like themselves to be called as geographer because that word did not exist. Do you understand that? So think of Immanuel Kant, who has made some important contributions in the field of geography, called himself as a philosopher. Do you understand that? So it was only after Eratosthenes that scholars identifying themselves or started identifying themselves as geographers. Clear? Who was this man, Eratosthenes? Eratosthenes was in fact born in Cyrene. Cyrene is a city which is located in present-day Libya. And he served as the chief librarian in the city of Alexandria. Alexandria in Egypt. Clear? Both are these ancient cities. So Eratosthenes, who was born in Cyrene and who served as the chief librarian in the library of Alexandria, which was the great library of the world at that time, or the greatest library perhaps of the world at that time, he coined the word geography. And because he was a Greek, it means geography, the word is derived from Greek words. In fact, it is a combination of two Greek words, geo and graphy. The word geo is actually a short form of the word geoid. Geoid means earth-like or earth-shaped or earth-like, or we can just short it for earth. So the word geo roughly means earth, whereas the word graphy is derived from the Greek word graphia. Graphia means to write an account of, or you can say to describe. तो देखो इससे ही ज्योग्राफी का डेफिनेशन तो बन गया. Geography therefore is the attempt to describe the earth. Now, earth can be described, say for example, as a planet in the solar system. That's a description of earth. Earth can also be described in terms of its internal structure, like the Earth is a sphere which has several layers, like the crust, the mantle, and the core. What kind of description is actually geography? Well, none of them. Why? Because when we describe the Earth as a part of the universe or the solar system, that's the astronomical description of the Earth. When we describe the Earth in terms of its structure or in terms of its internal makeup, then that is the geological description of the Earth. Geography is the description of the surface of the Earth. Do you understand that? So what is geography? Geography is the science that attempts to describe the surface of the Earth. ये तो बिल्कुल एक सीधा सा definition हो गया हमारे लिए. Clear? So in geography, everything that we study is on the surface of the Earth. But to understand the features on the surface of the Earth, we have to derive some knowledge from the interior of the Earth as well as Earth's external environment, including its atmosphere. So, when we say the surface of the Earth, we actually mean not only the surface of the Earth, but also the entire atmosphere and till the depth mankind has gone in the Earth's crust. Do you understand that? So the term surface of the Earth is actually, it includes the atmosphere, the Earth's surface, and the depth in the crust to which mankind has penetrated. Do you understand that? Now, you see, when we say that geography is the science to describe the surface of the Earth, what do we describe over the surface of the Earth and what kind of description is it? Now, see, description can be made either in terms of time or in terms of space. Like say for example, you can say that I saw my friend at 4 p.m. It means you are describing the presence of your friend in terms of time. You're saying कि 4 बजे मैंने उसे देखा था. So it's a description in terms of time. Another kind of description can be like I saw my friend in the Karol Bagh market. It means you are describing the place or the space over which you saw your friend. That kind of description is description in terms of space. तो ये geography किस तरीके का description है? Obviously, geography is the description of the surface of the earth in terms of space. Do you understand that? Therefore, geography is also known as the science of chronology, because when we describe something in terms of space, then that description is known as chronological description. Whereas when we describe something over the surface in terms of time, that is chronology or chronological description. Chronological description is in the domain of history. Historians try to describe things in a chronological order, like who ruled India before the Mauryas, after the Mauryas, what happened during the Mughal Empire. So these are all descriptions in terms of time. That is, they are chronological descriptions. So history is the science, the social science, which tries to describe things in terms of time. That's why history is a chronological social science, whereas geography tries to describe the things over the surface of the earth in terms of space. It means where they are located and not when they are located. Do you understand that? So, geographical description is actually chronological description. That's the first thing that you must keep in your head, that geography is the science that tries to describe things over the surface of the earth, and such description is in terms of space and not in terms of time. That is one thing that you need to keep in mind. But what do we describe over the surface of the earth. Like, can we describe the mountains over the surface of the earth? Yes, very well, we can do that. Can we describe the agricultural fields or the rice producing fields over the surface of the earth? Yes, we can. In terms of space, we can make a map and we can highlight over the surface of the earth that which are the regions which are famous for producing rice. We can make a map in which we can describe the mountains of the world, the 4 mountains of the world. Or we can make a map in which we can highlight the rivers of the world. In fact, we can also make a map in which we can highlight those areas of the world which are densely populated. तो क्या describe कर रहे हैं हम? In fact, we describe over the surface of the earth either natural features or man-made features. When we describe the natural features, we are in the realm of physical geography. Now, that description is description in terms of lithosphere, the hydrosphere, the atmosphere, or the overlapping zone of all of them, the biosphere. Whereas, when we describe those things which are made by man, like say for example, population is the creation of mankind by the act of reproduction. Similarly, settlements or agricultural fields or industries or trade and transport networks, these are created by men over the surface of the earth. So, the description that we are talking about in geography is definitely a chronological description. It means description in terms of space, and this description could be either of man-made things or they could be description of natural things. When we describe spatially the natural things, we are in the realm of physical geography. When we describe the man-made things over the surface of the earth, we are in the realm of human geography. Clear? Now, I told you that geography is all about the description of natural or man-made things over the surface of the earth. And that description is actually description in terms of space, or it's a spatial description and not a temporal description. It means description in terms of space and not in terms of time. Do you understand that? Now, it means that when we say spatial description, we are talking about how things are arranged over a place. It means spatial arrangement is actually the arrangement of things over a space. So if we have to describe something which is spread over the space or distributed over the space, often we take the help of maps. Clear? Therefore, map making is an integral part of geographical studies. The art of map making is known as cartography. So cartographers and geographers often find a lot of resonance. Why? क्योंकि जब आप कोई चीज डिस्क्राइब करते हो सरफेस के ऊपर, भले वो माउंटेन्स हो, रिवर्स हो, नेचुरल फीचर्स या मैन मेड फीचर्स हो, लाइक सिटीज, और यू आर डिस्क्राइबिंग द रोड्स विच आर मेड बाय मैन, you take the help of a map. Like you make a map of national highways of India, you make a map of major rivers of India, you make a map of major plateaus of India, you make a map of those areas of India where the first language is Hindi. You can make a map of India where you can highlight which are the areas where there is a lot of deposition of minerals. You can make a map of India, of plateaus, of plains, of anything. It means, what is the subject matter of geography? The subject matter of geography is anything and everything that can be described with the help of a map. जब हम map की बात करेंगे, then definitely we are talking about geographical description. Do you understand that? And you see that therefore the art of map making becomes very crucial in understanding the geography of a region. But ये map बनाकर हमें फायदा क्या है? ठीक है, हमने समझ लिया कि these are the areas where we have the major iron and steel industries in India, and we have made a map of that as well. But इससे फायदा क्या होगा? Well, on the basis of that map, we can then try to analyze the reasons why the iron and steel industries are where they are, and which are the other potential areas where we can have the iron and steel industries. So, it is not just description. Geography is not just description of physical or man-made features over the surface of the earth. It is also the attempt to analyze the reasons behind the distribution of physical and man-made features, and then utilize that knowledge for understanding the work of nature or mankind, or to use that knowledge to make future decisions. It means decisions with respect to planning. And you see that, say for example, there is an open field and there are grasses here and not very much tall trees. There are few trees, but mostly that area is covered with grasses. And you check that the soil is alluvial, this area has good temperature, and it has good rainfall throughout the year. It means that this area could be developed into a paddy field. ये आपने सोचा. Do you understand that? Now suppose there is another person who looks at it, the same area, and he thinks that there are not much trees in it, only grasses, and the surface is more or less plain. It means it is not an undulating surface, it's more or less a plain surface. So this area could be developed into a football field. तो सेम एरिया को देखकर आपने सोचा कि यहाँ पर एग्रीकल्चर हो सकता है, और किसी और ने सोचा कि यहाँ पर एक फुटबॉल फील्ड बन सकता है. And you can understand that if this area, suppose it has good connectivity with roads, maybe some other person might think that this area could be developed into a software hub. It means people look at a particular area and take decisions on the basis of knowledge they have and on the basis of priorities that they have. It means that actually when we look at a surface over the earth and we try to describe the things, the description, though we feel is complete, is never complete. Why? Because people look at a particular area on the basis of their own perception. That's why the use of mental maps, or how do you map a certain area before you develop that area by using planning, that also becomes an important aspect of geography. And that you can do only when you have maps with you. And maps can be created only by observation. So geography कैसे चलता है देखो. First you observe the things, then you describe them with the help of a map, then you study the map, then you analyze the surface of which the map is, and then you plan for that surface. But you can understand that planning can only be region specific. It cannot be for all the regions in a same manner. It means what? It means that suppose if you look at the eastern part of India or the coastal regions of India, you will see that the temperature is good, the rainfall is good, and hence you can grow paddy in these regions, the coastal plains and in the eastern parts of India, be it Assam, Bengal, Bihar, etc. But can you make a blanket plan that throughout India only paddy should be grown? If you make such kind of a plan, it is doomed to fail. Why? Because you are not taking into account the variations of climate, soil, water availability, etc. into account. It means what? It means that the nature differs from one region to another region, and therefore when we plan for a particular region, we must apply that plan only to that region and not for other regions. That's why in geography आपने देखा होगा हमेशा जब भी ये word planning आता है, there is a suffix and that is regional. Do you understand that? So look here, एक हम summarize करते हैं कि अभी तक हमने क्या समझा है. We understood geography is the science to describe the natural or man-made features in a spatial manner over the surface of the earth through the help of the maps for the purpose of regional planning. Do you understand that? That is what is geography.